Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Badass Mama Moves. This is your host, Yara, and today we're talking about money. Yes, the real stuff, the real stuff, not the cute Instagram version, not the just save more money advice. I'm talking about the real stuff. We are talking about financial literacy, and since we are in the financial literacy month, what a perfect time to have this conversation, right? Don't you think? Because the truth is, a lot of us weren't taught how to handle money. We were just told to survive it. Pay your bills, don't overdraft, stretch it till the next paycheck, figure it out, and that was it. And maybe you saw things growing up that stayed with you. Maybe money was tight. Maybe it caused arguments. Maybe it was something nobody talked about at all because money has always been one of those topics, touchy-feely topics that feels uncomfortable. It brings a lot of feelings out of people. So now here we are, grown, responsible, holding it down, taking care of our kids, a home, a job, and everything else in between, but still feeling like something's missing when it comes to our finances. Like no matter how hard you try, something is just isn't clicking. And a big part of that is that nobody really sat us down and taught us how money actually works. Not just to how to spend it, but how to really manage it, how to really grow it and move with it. So then what happens? We fall into patterns. We make money and it's gone before the month is over. We try to budget, but it feels restrictive or confusing, or we just don't stick to it. We save a little, then something pops up and wipes it all out. And after a while, it gets exhausting, and it's normal, right? It's a human thing, normal human thing. Because you are doing your part, you are working, you are trying, you are showing up, but deep down, there's this quiet thought as to like, why doesn't this money thing stick? There has to be more than this. And there is actually. But it doesn't start with more money, it starts with understanding. Because money is not just about numbers, it's about behavior, habits, emotions, decisions. It's about how you think when money hits your account. It's about what you do when pressure shows up. What do you believe you deserve? A lot of us are moving with money based on survival mode, not strategy. We are reacting instead of leading. We are trying to keep up instead of getting ahead. And listen, survival mode makes sense, and I absolutely get it. I've been there, done that a whole bunch of times. Especially if you've been through hard seasons, especially if you've had to carry everything on your own, and if you had to rebuild from situations that drained you emotionally and financially. But at some point, you start realizing I don't just want to survive anymore. I want to feel stable. I don't just want to get by. I want to feel in control. I want to build something. And that right there, that's the shift. That right there. That's where things start to change because now you're not just moving out of pressure. You are moving with intention. And once you understand how money works and how you work with money, everything starts to look different. You start making decisions differently. You start catching things you used to miss and you start feeling less anxious and more in control. Now, doesn't mean everything becomes perfect overnight. Absolutely not. But it does mean you're no longer just guessing, you're leading, you're planning, you are strategizing. Now, let's take a step further because there is something a lot of people confuse when it comes to money. And if you don't catch this, you'll keep chasing the wrong thing. So let's talk about the difference between having money and actually feeling confident with your money and in control. It's the difference. Let's just start there. Financial education is really just knowing how to make smart decisions with your money. That's it. Simple as that. Financial education is really just knowing how to make smart decisions with your money. It's not about being perfect or having a ton of money. It's about knowing what to do with what you already have. Because a lot of us think, I just have more, if I just have more money, everything will be better. And listen, I get that. Because when bills are tight, When things feel stretched, more money does sound like the solution. But the reality is that if the habits and the mindset are not there, more money won't fix it. It will actually expose it. Meaning, whatever is already happening with more money right now, it would just get louder with more money. It will magnify whatever situation or habits or patterns. If there's no plan, you'll just spend more. If there's no structure, you'll still feel all over the place. If there's emotional spending happening, it just get bigger. You will just spend more money. That's why you see people come into money and lose it just as fast. And that is real. There's actually statistics that shows that a large percentage of people who receive sudden money, like lottery winners or an inheritance, for instance, end up broke in just a few years. Most times because they didn't know how to manage it. They didn't know what to do, how to do with it, right? So this isn't about how much you have, it's about how you handle what you have. Because financial education teaches you things like how to tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went, how to make decisions before the month starts, not in the middle of a crisis when you're not even thinking logically, how to separate needs and wants and what actually matters for your life. So in other words, it teaches awareness, and awareness changes everything because now you're not just swiping your card and hoping it works out. You are intentional. You are not avoiding your numbers. You are facing them. You are not reaching every time something pops up. You are prepared. Now, let me give you a scenario. Think about two people making the same amount of money. One has a plan, checks in weekly, knows their numbers, moves with intention. The other one is just spending, guessing, reacting, hoping it stretches. Same income, completely different experience and approach. One feels in control, the other one feels stressed. That's the difference that financial education makes. And this is why I always say making and having a money plan, a budget, yeah, the B word, is not restrictive. It's not about restriction. It's about direction. Because when you know what you are doing with your money, where you're standing financially, you actually feel more freedom, not less. You can spend without guilt. You can save without fear. You can make decisions without second guessing everything. And that's where the shift starts happening. You stop feeling like money is controlling you, and you start realizing, I got this. I am the one in control. Not because everything is perfect, but because you understand what you're doing. And once that clicks, it's a whole different story. Now we can take it even deeper, right? Because there's another layer to this that a lot of people overlook, and it's the difference between knowing about money and actually feeling confident with it. So let's just talk about it. Now, this part right here, I need you to really catch this because this is where a lot of people get it twisted. We hear financial freedom all the time, and yeah, that of course it matters, absolutely. That's the place where your bills are handled, your money is working for you, you are not stressed every time something hits your account, you are not tied to something you hate just to survive. That's the goal for a lot of people. But there's something else that doesn't get talked about enough, and that is financial confidence. Now, financial confidence is your ability to make money, create money, figure things out, and bounce back when life hits. Because let's be honest, life be lifing sometimes. Job changes, unexpected bills pop up, kids need something out of nowhere, things break, situations shift. And when those moments happen, you really see the difference between someone who just has money versus someone who has confidence with money. Because one panics and the other one pauses. One freezes and the other one starts thinking, okay, what's the next move? Let me see what can I do here. That's financial confidence right there. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about trusting that you can figure it out. And let me make this real for you. You can have someone make six figures with no confidence, still stressed, still living paycheck to paycheck, still avoiding their bank account because they don't have a plan. They don't track their money. They don't really know what's coming in, what's going out, or what needs their attention. So everything feels reactive, and that creates anxiety. And then you can have someone making way less money, but they know how to move. They know how to adjust. They know how to plan. They do have a plan. They know how to stretch and rebuild if they have to. Why? Because they have built habits. They have a budget, even if it's simple, doesn't have to be complicated. They check in with their money regularly. They know their priorities, what gets paid first, what can wait, what needs to shift. They're not just guessing, they are deciding. They plan, strategize, they decide, right? When something unexpected pops up, they're not spiraling. They're like, okay, let me look at the numbers. What can I move around to take care of this unexpected situation? Who do you think feels more in control? The second person, right? Right answer. Thank you for answering. Because confidence doesn't come from the amount, it comes from clarity. It comes from knowing I have a system, I have a plan, I know what to do next, I know what I have, how much I have, and I know where everything is at. Confidence changes how you experience money. Now, here's something that might surprise you, and it is that studies show that a large percentage of Americans will struggle to cover an unexpected expense of $400 without going into debt or borrowing or swiping that credit card, right? So think about that for a second. Let that sink in. $400. It's not always because people don't make money. It's because they don't feel equipped. They don't feel confident in how to handle what comes up. And that's what we are really talking about here. Because financial confidence says, I may not have it all right now, but I know how to get through this. I know how to adjust my budget. I know where my money's going. I know I have a plan. Let me just look at it. What can I shift? It's a completely different energy. Now, financial freedom is often about destination. It's like one day I'll get there, meaning one day I'll have all of my debts paid off. I'm debt free. Yuppie, yay. But financial confidence, that's something you can start building right now to get to that financial freedom right where you are right now, where the income with the income that you have, with the situation that you're in, it built in the small moments. It's built every time you check your numbers instead of avoiding them, every time you make a decision ahead of time instead of reacting, every time you choose intention over impulse. That's you building confidence with your money right there. And over time, confidence turns into stability, and stability turns into peace. And that peace is what most of us are really looking for. Not just more money, but less stress, less anxiety, less guessing, more clarity, more in control, more direction. And especially my single mamas out there, let me say this straight up. My fellow single mamas out there who have been through some things. When you had to your finances controlled, when you've had to depend on someone else or tell you how, when, and how much to spend, when you've had to rebuild from nothing, let me tell you, the financial confidence hits different because now it's not just about money, it's about security, it's about freedom in your decisions, it's about knowing nobody can take that power away from you again. That's why this matters so much, because money will come and go, but confidence, that stays with you, that travels with you. That's what allows you to rebuild again and again and again if you have to. So yes, financial freedom is the goal, absolutely. But financial confidence, that's your foundation. That's what gets you there and keeps you there. Because without it, you can get the money and still feel lost. Six figures, seven figures, still feel lost. You may think you got it, oh, it's comfortable, yes, but you're still lost. But with it, with confidence, even if you lose money, you know you can get it back. So now that we clear that up, I got a little too excited right now, right? Um, I want to shift into something that's going to stretch you a little bit more because we are being real here. We're talking financial literacy and education. Let's just open those eyes, right? Now, let me say something that might shake things a little bit. And there's no shortage of money. There's a shortage of understanding because money is out there everywhere in different ways, shapes, or form and whatnot, right? Every day, money is being made, moved, invested, spent, created. Business are opening, deals are happening, opportunities are flowing. But if you don't know how to play the game, girl or boy, you'll feel like there's never enough. You'll feel stuck and behind. You'll feel like no matter what you do, it's just not working. And that's where mindset comes in because before money ever shows up in your hands, it shows up in your thinking, in your mind. And a lot of us, we didn't grow up with healthy money conversations or situations. We grew up hearing things like money is hard to get, rich people are greedy, money doesn't grow on trees. I heard that one a lot. We can't afford that. We grew up listening a whole bunch of caca about money. And listen, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not pointing fingers or blaming anybody or bashing anyone. Absolutely not. It's not my intention. A lot of our parents were doing the best they could with what they knew. And but those caca words were seeds planted in our heads. And those seeds turned into beliefs. So now, as adults, we move based on those beliefs without even realizing it. We second guess ourselves, we hesitate, we play small, we settle, not because we're not capable, but because deep down, there's a part of us that doesn't fully believe there's more available or that we are worthy of it. So even when opportunities show up, we don't take them, or we talk ourselves out of them, or we don't even recognize them as opportunities. Like, have you ever had an idea, something you could do, a way to make extra money, or a business idea, whatever it is, something you felt pulled toward, and then right after the thought, that idea, that thought came in your mind, like so many people already are doing that. That probably won't even work for me. I don't even know how where to start. Hey, let me forget about that. I'll do it maybe next time, maybe in another life. That's not lack of opportunity. That's mindset blocking access because the opportunity was there, but the belief shut it down. And this is why two people can be in the same room, hear the same information, same conversation, have access to the same resources, and walk away with completely different results. One sees possibility, the other one sees limitation. And here's a fact that really puts things into perspective. There are trillions of dollars moving through the economy every single year. Trillions with T, like trust believe that's a whole lot of money. So it's not that money is not available, is that not everyone is positioned mentally or strategically to access it. And that's the part that nobody really breaks down because money follows value and it follows awareness. When you start learning new skills, when you start paying attention, when you start being intentional, you start seeing things differently. You start noticing opportunities you used to overlook, ways to save, ways to make more, ways to grow. And it's not because they just appeared all of a sudden, right? They were always there. It's because now you are aware, and awareness changes your entire experience with money. Now, let's talk about scarcity for a second, because a lot of us are operating from that place without even realizing it. Scarcity sounds like I can't afford that. There's never enough. I'll never get ahead. And when you think like that, you move like that. You hold back. You stay stuck. You avoid. You don't take chances. When you start shifting into a different way of thinking, you start asking better questions. Instead of I can't afford this, you start asking, how can I make this work? How can I make this happen? Instead of there's never enough, you start thinking, what can I adjust? What can I create? What can I learn? Like, hey, yeah, I'm making this happen. Watch me. That shifts. That's the shift. And this is not about pretending everything is easy. Of course not. It never is, right? When it comes to growth, right? There's always those challenges because that's just part of growth and shifting. This is not about ignoring real life situations. This is about not letting your mindset keep you stuck in a place longer that you should need to be. Because once your thinking shifts, your actions start to shift. And once your actions shift, your results start to shift. See the cycle? That's how it works. And I want to say something, my dear fellow single mamas who feel like they are behind, because even I have those times feel that I have felt behind. I'm falling behind, or I should have been 10 steps ahead from where I'm at. You feel sometimes like you missed that moment, and you didn't. You didn't have the information yet, but now you do. So instead of beating yourself up, you get to move differently from here. You get to learn, you get to grow, you get to see money in a new way. Because money is not just something you chase, it's something you learn how to attract, manage, and multiply. Like, let it rain. And once you understand that, you start feeling like you are fighting for it and you start positioning yourself for it. Alrighty, so we're going to take a pause for a commercial break. But real quick, before we go into this quick break, if you're been feeling like your money is all over the place, like you're making money but don't really know where it's going, I got you. I offer one-on-one coaching sessions and one-on-one budget strategy sessions, especially if you already have a budget, but it's not quite working the way you need to. We can sit down and really map out your money out and in a way that makes sense for your life. No judgment, no shame, just real structure. We'll talk through the numbers, what's coming in, what's going out, your financial stressors, those patterns that keep showing up. And then we plan it out. We map it out so you can finally feel clear and in control. So if that's you, come find me on Facebook, Yara and Ortiz, as it appear on the screen, and send me a DM. Let's start the conversation. All ready? So let's go into a quick commercial break and we'll be just right back. All right, we are back, and I hope you grab a sip of something, a water, or a deep breath. Maybe let some of what we spoke about sink in, because we've been talking about money in a real way today, not surface level. So now let's get into something that I know a lot of people quietly struggle with, and that is, why do we stay stuck with money, right? Well, I'm always stuck with money. Like, we know we want better, we know something needs to change, we even try sometimes, but somehow we end up right back in the same place. So why does that happen? When you really break it down, it usually comes back to two things. One, the voices people grew up listening to and have been listening to their whole life. And two, staying in their comfort zone. So let's talk about the voices. And I'm talking about what stuck, right? The things you heard growing up, the way money was talked about, the way money was handled, because whether we realize it or not, we carry that into adulthood. So if you grew up hearing things like, we can't afford that, money is always tight, that becomes your normal. And then even when your situation changes, your thinking doesn't always catch up. So now you might be making more or have more opportunities, but you're still moving like there's never enough and playing it small, because those voices don't always sound like other people anymore. Now they sound like you. You've gotten so used to it, so immune to those voices that you already hear them in your own voice. And that right there is what keeps you stuck. Because if you don't challenge those thoughts, you'll keep making decisions from them. So now let's talk about staying in our comfort zone. This one right here is sneaky because your comfort zone doesn't always feel comfortable, but it's familiar. Something it's sometimes it's something stressful, overwhelming, but it's familiar. And familiar feels safe, even if it's not serving you. So you stay in the same patterns, handle money the same way, avoiding the same things, putting off the same decisions because stepping into something new, it's uncomfortable. Looking at your numbers, uncomfortable. Admitting things need to change, uncomfortable. Trying a budget again after it didn't work that first time that you tried it for 2 minutes, uncomfortable. But growth lives on the other side of that uncomfortable. And a lot of times it's not what we don't know, it's what to do. It's what we don't feel confident doing consistently. Because consistency requires discipline, and discipline requires you to do things even when you don't feel like it. That's where most people fall off because it's new and it feels hard. But here's something I want you to think about. Every time you avoid your money, every time you say, I'll deal with it later, and each time you decide to stay in the same cycle, you're choosing temporary comfort over long term peace. And I know that might hit a little, but it's real. Because the same energy it takes to avoid your money is the same damn energy it takes to face it. Hello. The difference, one keeps you stuck, the other one moves you forward. So if you tried something before and it didn't work, why not try it again? But perhaps with a different system, with some support this time, right? Perhaps a different approach and perspective. Because not every budget works for every person. Not every method fits every lifestyle. And that's okay. Hello, we're not built the same. This is about finding what works for your life and sticking with it, little by little, step by step. Because confidence with money is built through action, through showing up, adjusting, and trying again. Like fall 8 times, get up 10. 9, next number, right? Even after you mess up, especially after you mess up. So if you've been feeling stuck, I want you to ask yourself, what voices am I still listening to? Where am I choosing comfort over growth? Once you become aware of that, you'll have the power to change it. All right, so let's bring it back home. If you take anything from today, let it be this. Money is not just about what you have. It's about what you understand and how you choose to move from here. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about dollars. This is about peace. It's about feeling grounded. It's about waking up and not feeling that way every time you think about money. This is about being able to breathe a little easier, to make decisions without fear, and to know that no matter what life throws your way, you are not going to fall apart. That is the kind of stability that changes everything, not just for you, but for your kids, for generations to come. Because our kids, they're always watching. They're watching how you handle stress, how we handle stress, how we talk about money, how we make decisions. And what you shift today, what we shift today will change for them tomorrow. So no, you don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You just need to make a decision and say, like, I'm not staying in this same place anymore. Start with me. And take that first step. Take that first powerful step forward and give yourself grace in the process. Because this journey is not about perfection, it's about progress, it's about becoming more aware, becoming more intentional, becoming the version of you that feels in control, not overwhelmed. And if something in this conversation hits you, if you felt seen, if something clicked, if anything I said stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with another mama, another parent, a friend, family member who needs to hear it. Start the conversation because there are too many of us silently struggling with money. And we don't have to do that anymore. We get to learn, we get to grow, we get to do this different, we get to support each other because we're not just out here trying to survive. We are building something real, something steady, something that lasts. We are building legacy. So start that conversation, share, talk about it. DM me if you need to. Let's talk about it. All right? Alrighty. So this is it for today. And as always, I see you, I feel you, I am you. We're in this together. Stay grounded, stay fear, and let's keep making those badass mama moves. Till the next one.
Bills pile high, but I won't lose sight. Got my fierce mama vibe, I'm ready to fight. Navigate the struggles, I'm the captain here. With my dreams in focus, no room for fear. Building my kingdom brick by gritty brick. Every setback just makes me more slick. With each lesson learned, I turn pain